Hello and welcome to Adda with Kalyan. Today we've got a very interesting topic which is about the cities of India which are shifting. You know, once upon a time in the 80s and 90s it was all about Colaba in Mumbai, Park Street in Kolkata, Connaught Place in Delhi. But if you look at the cities today, the cities are shifting and so is the food scene. So that's what we're going to discuss today. And I've got a very interesting panel with me. I've got people who are restaurateurs, bloggers and PR folks and people who represent the shifting landscape of cities. So joining us from Bangalore is a very dear friend of mine, Monika Manchanda. She's one of the earlier bloggers of India and she runs a food blog called Cinnamon Tales. We once had a very nice dosa breakfast in Bangalore. She's also a big advocate of the 100 sari pact, but today for some reason didn't choose to make number 97 her sari over here. So thanks for joining in, Monika. We also have Pooja joining in from Mumbai and she's in our studio. She has started a very interesting community called Navi Mumbai Foodies, which is now called Novo Foodies. She's been in the PR industry and now she's by herself and she's a big evangelist of what's happening in Mumbai beyond the city's borders in food. Joining us soon is Zorawar Kalra, who's part of Massive Restaurants, son of Jigs Kalra. He's in Mumbai, though he's based in Gurgaon. He's very busy with launching Papaya, which is just opposite our studios in Phoenix Mills. And he's somewhere in the parking lot, but he's going to join us very soon. So I'll come to you first, Monika. I remember when you and I met, we had this very nice traditional dosa breakfast at Sri Krishna Cafe at Koramangala. And since then, you've shifted to Whitefield, which is in the newer part of Bangalore. So what is the difference you're seeing in the food scene in traditional Bangalore, like Koramangala and MG Road and so on, and Whitefield now?
So if you talk about the traditional parts of Bangalore, essentially, I mean, I would go back even a step and say Malleshwaram and the areas, then MG Road, then Indiranagar and Koramangala. So Bangalore was a very, very small city at one point of time. So Koramangala and Indiranagar, if you talk to old Bangaloreans, they will even call Koramangala and Indiranagar newer parts of Bangalore. Yeah. So, but essentially the food scene difference between the old part of the Bangalore new part is more to do with the newer cuisines than the contemporary food, a lot more variety in terms of international foods available, lot more variety in terms of even Indian foods available, rather than just sticking to a lot of local food that's available in the traditional parts of town.
And are these new standalone restaurants or are they branches of restaurants which are there in other parts of Bangalore?
Part both. So going a little ahead from Whitefield, there are also some other smaller places coming up. Like if you talk of Kammanhalli, which I think is the place when you talk about suburbs and foods in Bangalore right now. Lot of small standalone interesting restaurants coming up. Whitefield has some standalone like Hanoi, which is Vietnamese food. Then it also has all standards, international chains available. So it's a mix of both kinds essentially.
Oh, fantastic. Pooja, what's happening in New Bombay?
A lot actually, Kalyan. As you were just talking a few minutes back, there's been an increase, or rather I would say a spurt of restaurants been opening up from early this year until now. I can recall at least one restaurant opening up every month, which is really huge for a place like New Bombay.
Yeah, I remember once traveling there on work in the late 90s and McDonald's was the only place to eat there.
Only place, exactly. Or maybe an Udupi or a family joint. So a lot of the audiences today are evolving, they travel well, they actually, are being part of the whole culinary journey that's happening in Mumbai. So I wouldn't treat Navi Mumbai as a place out of Mumbai or en route to Pune, but more something like it's another new suburb. They are opening up and moving beyond just North Indian Mughlai cuisine or family dining options to coffee shops, to buffet options, to Pan-Asian cuisine, something beyond just our Indian style Chinese. So a lot of stuff, and not to forget that audiences there are very price sensitive as well. So keeping all this in mind, a lot of restaurants, standalone and multi-chain, are bringing in quite a few options.
And is the audience younger there? Because I mean, people in Navi Mumbai are more people who are settling in now compared to say South Mumbai and stuff like that. So is it a more younger audience?
It's a mix actually. I would say it's more tilting towards younger working professionals as well as families. So, for younger families or parents with 2 small kids, that kind of thing, they enjoy the real estate, the space out there, and the many options, because it's a more sort of more relaxed area to stay, and with a lot of educational facilities.
Not as frenetic as
not as
Bombay.
frenetic as Bombay.
Monika, coming back to you. When you think of the crowds which used to be around you in places like Koramangala, and now the crowds you see around you in Whitefield, do you see a difference in the sort of diners in the restaurants?
I think clearly Whitefield is a more corporate-ish IT kind of crowd. We do see a lot of expats around in IT. We do see a lot of young couples, young couples in the sense early. Young parents, young families is what I would place it as, not just young people. I would place it as young families who have small children or teenage children. So a lot of expat, a lot of people have just come back from a stint from US. So a lot of that kind of crowd is people who are more traveling, people who are more open to exploring new cuisines is the kind of people I see in Whitefield around me right now.
I think that's symptomatic of how the cities of India are moving as well, because the newer areas are where the newer immigrant families are coming in, the younger families, nuclear families, people more in a corporate world. So I think that's symptomatic of what's happening across the country, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you say so?
Yeah, so like Pooja says, one thing is definitely the space. I mean, we do prefer bigger open spaces, so people want to move in out of the city and sacrifice some of it. The second part, I think, which has a huge thing to deal with moving to suburbs, is most of the new offices are finding space away from.
Hey, we wanted to say hi. I saw your son coming in.
He just went off. Does he want to say hi?
He's famous on.
Say hi and go. So he just came back from.
Hi. You're very famous on Facebook, I must tell you. What's his favorite place to go and eat?
What's your favorite place to go and eat, Ojas? So he likes this place called Bet You Love It in Kamanhalli, Kalyan Nagar actually. It's basically like the English breakfast there. Correct? Yeah.
Great. So Monika, Zorawar's joined us now. Zorawar, how's it been?
Good, excellent.
So you're here in town to launch Papaya, and Pooja was asking me, why is it called Papaya?
So it's so it's a pan-Asian restaurant, and papaya just happens to be the fruit/vegetable that is very commonly used across the whole of Asia. So Japanese, Korean, Chinese, Thai, everybody uses papaya, and the whole idea was not to just call it papaya. It's actually not called papaya; it's called papaya.
Yeah, in fact, that's how the font is.
Exactly. So I think that's the reason, and it's easy to remember. It's a catchy name.
Absolutely.
It is.
That's important for a restaurant's name.
In fact, Woody Allen was once asked why did he name his movie Bananas, and he said because it's got nothing to do with bananas. So that's sort of the opposite. So Zorawar, you opened Farzi Cafe in Gurgaon. Why Gurgaon and why not Delhi?
Because I live in Gurgaon. No, that's just one of the things. Actually, we whenever we choose a location, we look at it from obviously multiple aspects, but I think the most important thing is perhaps whether it fits into our concept or not. And the nature of Gurgaon is such that it's a young, vibrant city. It's got a lot of people from across the country, a lot of dinks, double income, no kids, and huge revenue potential. And I was already in Cyberhub. I had a brand already called Made in Punjab, which is running very well.
Yeah.
So I knew that it's a great place to launch a new brand. There were a couple of other very successful concepts that launched from Cyberhub. So it became natural for me to kind of use that as a proven place. So it reduced some of the risk because the concept itself was risky.
Yeah.
To mitigate some of that risk, we chose Cyberhub, but I think it turned out very well because Gurgaon is just as vibrant as Delhi.
Yeah, and I've been to Farzi Cafe a couple of times, and the buzz there is like. It's really phenomenal over there. It's very nice.
I like to call that place a cozy, modern space.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cozy and modern at the same time, which is hard to accomplish. And Sahiba Singh, our wonderful designer, was able to accomplish that. So it's a wonderful place. I think the buzz in Gurgaon and Cyberhub in particular is very, very good.
So how would you say the Gurgaon eating crowd differs from the the GK2 or the Khan Market or the Connaught places of Delhi?
Sure. So I think Delhi and Gurgaon are siblings. They are obviously Gurgaon is a satellite city, but it's one of those satellite cities that is in many ways as good or even better for the dining scene.
Yeah.
So a lot of the top restaurants are actually opening in Gurgaon.
Yeah, true.
They don't necessarily first time open in Delhi, and that's evident because of the fact that the people that actually live in Gurgaon visit these places. They're willing, they're adventurous with their palate. They want to go and try out these various foods. They're not necessarily price that value conscious.
Yeah.
And so it's a wonderful, wonderful diaspora to deal with. But also you have to think that a lot of the people from South Delhi actually move to Gurgaon.
Yeah,
so
true,
what is
true.
Gurgaon? Gurgaon is people from all across the country and even the world that come there for work, the IT industry and everything else.
Yeah, like
But
my
they're
brother
also-
stays there. He's from Calcutta.
Exactly,
Yeah.
but also people who lived in South Delhi, so Delhi sensibility, but they moved to Gurgaon
Yeah.
because of real estate advantages and everything else. So I think it's a very good place to be, and South Delhi, of course, is where I was born. I lived there for 22 years. I moved, no, actually longer, for 28 years, in fact, before I moved to the US. And for me, that's an amazing space to be, a very different, elitist kind of crowd in South Delhi. Their tastes and preferences are very good as well. They are the ones that travel a lot. Gurgaon, as a percentage, obviously that kind of a elite clientele is a little bit less,
Yeah.
but I think they're still just as diverse and just as fun to serve.
Pooja, does that sound familiar in a Mumbai context?
A lot,
You know, if I
lot.
compare South Mumbai with Navi Mumbai.
Mumbai, a lot. I mean, taking on from where he's saying, today the New Bombay audience is getting very, very experimentative, if I can use that. They want to travel everywhere. They don't mind going, you know, to the corners of Navi Mumbai or to the corners of Mumbai. What's important is for them to eat something different. That's how the restaurants are also picking that up. You know, why would someone move from a North Indian, just a plain Mughlai, to giving them Pan Asian, to giving them sushi platters, to giving them as authentic as, you know, your Malay or your Vietnamese food can get.
So there's a restaurant called Macchiato, which Kurush
Yes,
and Ria
that's
used to really talk
only
about.
focused on Italian, and the wood-fired pizzas over there are to really, you can relish them. A different kind of a bar, and you know, I mean, it's a different experience. So you walk in not thinking that you're in New Bombay or Bombay. You're going there to have something which is really Italian and authentic, and you want to, you know, try and have fun with your family, friends, or just an evening out.
So, but that brings a question in my mind, Monika. If you think of Bangalore, and that's true of every city, you know, there are these pockets like Malleshwaram where you have the CTRs and the Veena stores of the world, which are very traditional. But when you come to places like Whitefield, Gurgaon, or Navi Mumbai, you miss out on the traditional food, right, of the city. Is that a bit of a concern?
I would say partly yes, but you know, I would say you miss out on the icons. You don't miss out on the food essentially. We do have good idli dosa joints in Whitefield. What we don't have a Veena store in CTR. But then Veena store and CTR were formed 50 and 100 years ago. You cannot have multiple of them. So, and when it comes to old stores, old places, old eating joints, there's a bit of nostalgia involved in there, which refuses for you to let us believe that a newer store can be as good as Veena. We do have an MTR here in Whitefield now. So those options, those branches are opening up. So we don't miss out on the traditional food. We do miss out on the nostalgia part. The old part of it is what I feel.
Yeah, and the fact is that India is changing, and what I find interesting, Zorawar, is that, I mean, you've got a lot of restaurants which are redefining the concept of eating, whether it's Farzi Cafe or Masala Library, and then now yeah, I'm going to say that correctly. What I found interesting is that the areas you've chosen, you were probably one of the first to get into BKC with a significantly strong restaurant, Masala Library. You didn't get into Bandra West or Kolaba when you opened that. Farzi Cafe's been in Gurgaon. Your made in Punjab in Mumbai is in Borivali and Malad. You've chosen the non-high streets. Was that a conscious choice, and how's that working for you?
So we kind of have a combination of high streets and non-high streets. You know, like I said, we first think of a concept and then we try and find a location that kind of fits into that. So I'm not a Bombay person, so I did not know that BKC is construed as not the optimum dining or lunch destination.
Wasn't, but I think you redefined it with Masala Library. Now everyone's going there.
No, we
Soda
had
bottles opening this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I study things from obviously a micro scale also, but you sometimes have to look at a macro scale, and I realized that the most difficult thing for restaurants usually is to fill up during lunch. And I realized that in the corporate hub of Bombay, at least I won't have that problem. So that was one of the key reasons for going to BKC. But to be quite honest, it was a punt. and luckily, knock wood, it panned out well for us, so let me knock on my head right
Absolutely.
now. But, so that was that part, but obviously I'd done some research. There was another successful restaurant there called Yaucha, which is doing still well. So I knew that there is a precedent.
Theo Brahma is doing well also, and now that area is really opened up. And
I think it's fabulous. I
Bakersfield,
think today I was there for lunch briefly for an interview, and I couldn't get a table for myself, so I was very happy to see that.
Didn't Zamir help you?
No, he didn't, because I told him
must give you their numbers.
No, I specifically told them, and then that, but that's okay. We stood around at the bar, and then the table got vacant. But so every location that we choose, we look at the concept, then we find an appropriate location. We don't first see a location, then build a concept around it, because our concepts have to be scalable across the country and the world. And I think Bombay is a very unique city where every little part has its huge consumption. I mean, the people just like to go out and eat. They don't really entertain at home. They go and entertain outside restaurants.
You can't, because our houses are so small.
And also just it's such a vibrant city.
I think there's a lot of opportunities for people to go out. When you're saying whether I'll be happy to just meet a friend at a coffee shop, entertain a family at some sit down, maybe a buffet or things like that, or even if it's just friends getting together, there are lounge options. So there are these varieties that's now available in New Bombay as well, which probably maybe 5 years or 10 years back you wouldn't have seen that kind of.
There's also one more change happening which folks like Zorawar are bringing about, and I'm going to ask this to you, Pooja and Monika, that earlier restaurants used to be standalone concepts. I mean, apart from 5 stars. And in malls, you would have the McDonald's or the KFCs, which Virat Kohli recently has told us not to go and eat in to stay healthy. But now we've got like significant restaurants, whether it's Made in Punjab or Papaya, or even other significant. Indigo Delhi was one which had a significant mall presence. So as a diner, how do you feel about eating in a mall? Because sometimes I feel that when I'm in a standalone restaurant, I just feel it's a bit more special than when I'm going to a mall. Do you guys feel that way, or no? You're okay with it?
No. See, standalone definitely. The kind of service that I'll get, the focus that will be there on the customer there, the food. I have more time, patience, peace to enjoy rather than rush around at a mall or queue up for the food there, and it's going to come hot served on to me. The other important thing is that these standalone restaurants have the courage to offer something new and go up to newer markets.
But now standalone restaurants are coming into malls. Like I said, Papaya or Made in Punjab.
Well. Yeah, that's also fair.
Monika, how do you feel about eating in a mall versus going to a restaurant? And Whitefield has a lot of mall restaurants, right?
Yeah, it does. I personally detest malls. That's a fact that I have generally as whole. So you'll very rarely find me going to a mall and eating in a restaurant. I do have a couple of exceptions here and there. Like there is a lovely Vietnamese restaurant in Phoenix Market City in Whitefield, which we do visit often. But more often than not, what I find the experience of a restaurant eating in mall is more hurried than a standalone restaurant.
Yeah.
Probably it's just because of more number of people coming in, because the walk-ins are more, which does make sense from a restaurant point of view. But from
I think Zorawar, that's also sort of changing thing, right? Because that's where the market is moving.
Absolutely. See, I'm technically also in the real estate selection business, right?
Yeah.
Because one of the key aspects of a successful restaurant is the location that you choose. And so I think malls are fantastic.
Yeah. I think the only problem is finding a restroom. You have to go out of the restaurant.
No, but so I'll tell you how that. Of course, that's a minor inconvenience. Yeah. But the good thing is that there's always somebody constantly keeping it hygienic and clean, all that. But I think for us, we do both. We do a lot of standalone, a lot of malls. I like I said, we have to search for the right location. In Bombay now specifically, everybody tells me, oh, Papaya is such a unique concept, such a unique restaurant. You should have opened. Sometimes some people say you should have also opened outside. I said, well, find me a legal space in Bombay where liquor licenses are easy to get, and I'll open it there.
And Phoenix is such a central place.
Yeah, so I launched my Punjab Grill here. I used to own Punjab Grill before this.
Of course.
And that became the top fine dining Indian restaurant at that time.
And between Juhu and Phoenix Mills, Punjab Grills at both ends of the...
Absolutely. So I think we look at it more from a slightly, like I said, macro picture as well. You need to be in Lower Parel because the hotspot. Now I'm opening a Farzi Cafe in Kamla Mills, which is a standalone.
And the, we were talking about new areas in metros. The fact is that the mills of Mumbai have really become the new high street of.
They are in completely high streets because there's destination places.
And that's an example of how the city shifted, because it's really from Colaba to Bandra to the mills how it's moved. So there are a lot of people here who have been watching and trying to figure out what are representative of these new areas. So as I'm going to wind up, I'm going to ask each of you to give your recommendations. First, I'm going to you, Monika. Like if I was to go to Whitefield, which are the restaurants you would recommend that I go to get a feel of Whitefield?
We actually have two microbreweries, and when you talk of Bangalore, you can't miss them. So we have Windmills Craft and we have Beer Street. So those would definitely be in the list for me. Windmills has some great food as well, and there is Mustard and Creds, which has good salads and the new age Delhi kind of food. Then my personal favorite around here is there's Hanoi, which serves Vietnamese food inside Phoenix Market City. And probably one more I would pick up is a smallish Kerala restaurant called Chinawala. It's fantastic food.
So that's quite a stretch. Salads to Vietnamese to Keralite and microbreweries as well. And I think that sums up the Whitefield story. What about you, Pooja? What do you think is representative of Navi Mumbai?
For Navi Mumbai, it's a lot of street food or fast food rather, given to you in a more hygienic manner. So something like an Amar juice center that's there. Or you
which
have,
is from Andheri. So
yes,
it's
which is from Andheri and comes from the Achija food line. And then you have the Navratna, which has been like since 80s, it's been there, and you get your typical dose of soda, dosas and your idlis. And for more like the healthy guys, there's something called a salad bar and Walnut Cafe that's opened up after Bombay Salad Company. That's something that people really relate to. And more for global fusion, people kind of enjoy Popuri as well because they have their special buffets.
A Bandra thing which is moved there.
So a lot of buffet culture, sit down, healthy, a combination of these three is what people are picking up these days there.
Zorawar, any plans of moving to Navi Mumbai or Whitefield with one of your restaurants?
Whitefield has been on our radar for quite some time. And Navi Mumbai also, some locations have definitely been offered to us. I think, not going to these markets immediately, but definitely within the next year, you'll probably see us signing. Although we have taken up in this mall, L&T, a new mall, which is going to open up in Navi Mumbai, the biggest one. And we've already signed a location there, but that's futuristic. It'll open in about a year's time. So yes, it's on our radar. We look at, like I said, a macro picture, so you have to choose. And it'll be in every major key area, and Navi Mumbai is fantastic from that perspective.
So Pooja, you know what's coming away. So you've moved from Zorawar from Delhi, South Delhi and to Gurgaon. So if you were to pick restaurants, and I'm already picking Farzi Cafe, but that apart, which are the restaurants which you would suggest people go to get a flavor of what Gurgaon dining is all about?
Gurgaon has some fantastic restaurants, and they're evenly split. So standalones are obviously dominating, as they usually do in this country, but there are also some good hotel restaurants. For example, there is this restaurant called 361 at the Oberoi, which I love. And honestly, it's right next to my office, so I go there very often.
And their chef, Ravi Tejnath, has just got a presidential award for the best chef.
He is one of my, I think he's the guy to look out for. He
was on one of our early Addas, in fact.
Yeah, and he's great. Very multi-talented, multifaceted. He understands multiple cuisines. And he's the kind of guy that I like. I love Kapil Chopra and Mr. Oberoi, so I won't poach him, but he's a fabulous guy to have. And apart from that, obviously, standalones are fantastic. Cyber Hub has a whole bunch of
any two or three which comes to your mind?
So immediately that comes to my mind, I guess in standalones, there's this place in Sector 29, actually not Sector 29, in the Galleria market in Gurgaon.
That's very close to my brother's house.
Pinso, I like, it's a tapas joint. It's a chef-driven place. Small little place, he comes and takes your order himself, then sometimes runs into the kitchen to actually make it for you. He makes a mean prawn gambas. Or? Yeah, he's definitely Indian. I don't know where but he's probably got some Goan influence. I don't know, maybe he's from Goa, but he's obviously Spanish food, it's tapas.
Any other places?
Another place that I really like in Gurgaon is I'm trying to think in Cyber Hub. I kind of like most of them over there. There's this nice place opened up called Chayus, which is an experimentation place with
Chayus, right? That's a tea place, and that's opening in Bandra. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yes.
So India is a young country. It's a growing country. It's a dynamic country, and the mega cities are really exploding, and the centers keep changing. Like if we take Mumbai, it was South Mumbai, then it became Bandra, then it became the Mills, and it's New Mumbai, and this is happening in every city across India. So the great scene for us foodies is that the food scene is also changing across the country, and with each areas moving to it's evolving and the exciting things happening. So we've got all the old favorites there for us, and there's a lot of new exciting scene happening. So let's go out there and eat, and catch you in the next Adda with Kalyan soon.